From an abandoned child on a freezing winter night to a shining star in the world of art. The life story of Jing Bai Nian is not just a journey from hardship to triumph, it is a testament to resilience, filial devotion, and the power of forgiveness. But after enduring so much suffering and loss, can he truly let go of the past and embrace happiness? Join us as we uncover this deeply moving tale. The Bitter Winter of 1989. On the streets of Shenyang, Liaoning, the cold wind slashed like razor-sharp blades against the faces of passers-by. In a modest home tucked away in this unforgiving winter, the first cries of a newborn pierced the silence. That child was Jing Bai Nian. Born into a family of craftsmen, his innocent eyes blinked open, oblivious to the cruel fate awaiting him. Just 28 days after his birth, his world collapsed. His young father had fallen into the suffocating grip of gambling, sinking deeper into its clutches with each passing day. Every last penny the family had painstakingly saved was recklessly thrown away at the mercy of chance. His mother, burdened by domestic violence and the crushing weight of survival, endured a life of growing despair. Fear loomed over their household like an unrelenting shadow, tightening its grip as their poverty deepened. The rice jar in the kitchen had long been empty. The wardrobe held nothing but tattered clothes. Each gambling loss pushed his father further into a spiral of rage, and his mother, still weak from childbirth, became the unwilling recipient of his violent outbursts. On one particularly frigid night, she huddled in the corner, clutching her newborn son tightly. Her body trembled, not just from the biting cold, but from sheer terror. Neighbors heard the muffled cries through the thin walls, but no one dared to intervene. Fear kept them silent, knowing that violence once unleashed could spill over onto anyone. Then, on a night as dark as ink, battered and broken, his mother made a desperate choice. She fled, leaving behind her infant son, his cries echoing into the void. His father, lost in a drunken haze, was too consumed by his addiction to even notice. Jing Bai Nian was left alone in the barren room, his small body racked with hunger. He wailed, his fragile voice carrying through the stillness of the night, but no one came. His sobs, raw and relentless, faded only when exhaustion stole his strength. His tears dampened his delicate cheeks, his throat grew hoarse from crying for comfort that would never come. At barely a month old, he had already been abandoned to the brink of life and death, as if the entire world had forsaken him. But even in the darkest night, there can be a flicker of light. His paternal grandparents, both well into their 60s, became that light. They lived on the outskirts of the city, in a dilapidated house battered by time. Winter winds howled through its cracks, and in summer, rain seeped through the leaking roof. His grandmother, once a woman of great strength, had long been plagued by chronic pain from years of grueling labor. Even the simplest tasks could leave her hunched over in agony. His grandfather fared no better, his relentless coughing echoing through their tiny home. By all rights, these should have been their twilight years, a time of rest and quiet dignity. But faced with their abandoned grandchild, they did not hesitate. Despite their own hardships, they chose to save him. Their poverty was profound, yet to buy milk for their grandson, they sold the few valuables they had left. Desperation led his grandmother to set aside her pride, knocking on neighbors' doors to ask for help. And the community, witnessing their plight, offered what little they could. Small acts of kindness formed a lifeline, helping them survive one day at a time. By day, his grandmother sat outside their home, tirelessly weaving bath towels with her calloused fingers. The rough fabric scraped against her worn hands, yet she continued, stitch after stitch. Each towel sold for a mere 2 cents, but she never stopped working, never stopped hoping. Because in her arms, there was a child who needed her. And no matter how cruel the world had been to him, she refused to let him go. Jing Bai Nian's grandmother never stopped working. Day after day, her hands grew rough and calloused from years of relentless labor. When night fell, she hoisted a worn-out sack over her frail shoulders and ventured into the streets, weaving through narrow alleyways in search of discarded items she could sell. An empty oil bottle, a used soy sauce jar, a crumpled cardboard box, each was a small treasure in her eyes. Winter was merciless. The northern wind howled through the city, slicing through her thin clothing like knives. Yet she braved the freezing cold, rummaging through piles of trash with fingers reddened and raw from the bitter air. The wind chapped her face, leaving deep cracks in her weathered skin. But never once did she complain. Each night when she returned home, exhausted but undeterred, she was greeted by the innocent, carefree smile of her grandson. In that moment, all her fatigue melted away. Though life was full of hardship, she always saved the best for him. Whenever kind neighbors gifted her a small portion of food, she never took a single bite. Instead, she carefully wrapped it up and brought it home for Jing Bai Nian. Under her unwavering care, he grew up in a modest home, one devoid of material wealth but overflowing with love. Time slipped by, and in the blink of an eye, it was the spring of 2006. Jing Bai Nian had just turned 17. One day, while watching television, he stumbled upon an advertisement for Good Men of the House, a nationwide talent competition. As a boy who had loved singing for as long as he could remember, a spark of hope ignited within him. Jing Bai Nian possessed a voice that was nothing short of a gift. At school performances, he always stood out, earning praise from teachers and classmates alike. Though he had never received formal vocal training, nor had the means to afford a music teacher, he never let that stop him. He taught himself, diligently studying professional singers on television, refining his voice through sheer persistence and passion. Fueled by an unshakable dream, he gathered all his courage and signed up for the audition. On the day of the competition, the venue buzzed with energy. Thousands of contestants crowded the space, each waiting for their moment on stage. Most were surrounded by family and friends, their voices rising in cheers of encouragement. But Jing Bai Nian stood alone in the corner, quiet yet determined. His heart pounded with nervous anticipation as he watched contestant after contestant take the stage. Finally, his turn arrived. Taking a deep breath, he steadied himself and stepped forward. Then, as his voice filled the auditorium, a hush fell over the crowd. The judges, exhausted after listening to countless performances, suddenly sat up, their attention captured. No one had expected this reserved, unassuming young man to possess a voice so hauntingly beautiful, so full of raw emotion that it sent chills through the room. A stunned silence took hold. His undeniable talent left everyone in awe. With each round of competition, he continued to defy expectations, advancing step by step toward the national finals. Under the dazzling stage lights, Jing Bai Nian was no longer just a boy from a forgotten corner of the city. He was stepping into the world where dreams take flight. And for the first time, the world was listening. In 2007, as Jing Bai Nian lifted the championship trophy high above his head, the crowd erupted into thunderous applause. The boy who had once struggled to survive life's harshest storms was now standing in the golden light of his first true dawn, stepping into a brilliant new chapter. Despite his soaring success in the entertainment industry, Jing Bai Nian never forgot the woman who raised him. Every time he stood on stage before thousands of fans, he could still see her in his mind. His grandmother, braving the bitter cold, quietly collecting scraps just to provide for him. As the years passed, she grew older, her health slowly deteriorating. Every phone call home became a silent battle, his heart tightening at the sound of her weary voice. He made a promise to himself, no matter what, he would give her the life she deserved. The moment he achieved financial stability, the very first thing he did was buy her a luxurious villa worth 30 million yuan, approximately $10 million. Fully equipped with modern amenities, the home had just one purpose: to ensure that her final years were filled with peace and comfort. He also hired an experienced caretaker to tend to her every need, making sure she was well-fed and well-rested. No matter how hectic his schedule became, he always made time to visit, listening to her stories, taking slow evening strolls together, and cherishing the simple moments they had left. Watching her sit in that spacious living room, her eyes shining with happiness. He knew every sacrifice, every struggle had been worth it. But fate, once again, had other plans. In the autumn of 2017, his grandmother passed away. Her sudden departure shattered his world. The home that had once been warm with her presence now felt unbearably empty. The grief of losing the one person who had given him unconditional love cut through him like a knife. And just when he thought he could not bear any more heartache, ghosts from his past reappeared. His biological parents, the very people who had abandoned him as an infant, stood before him after all these years. Time had etched deep lines into their faces. The once young couple was now aged, worn by life's hardships. Their heads hung low, their eyes brimming with remorse. Tears streamed down their cheeks, yet no words of apology could escape their trembling lips. Standing before the very people who had once walked away without looking back, a storm of emotions surged within Jing Bai Nian. Memories of his childhood flashed before his eyes, the ridicule from classmates, the endless nights yearning for the love of parents who never came. Decades of buried pain crashed over him like a relentless wave. His fists clenched. A fire of resentment burned deep inside him. He wanted to ask, "Why? How could you be so cruel?" But at that moment his grandmother's voice echoed in his mind, gentle yet unwavering. "Do not hate them, my child. They too have suffered in their own way." Her words were like the first breath of spring, slowly melting the ice that had long encased his heart. A decision that changed everything. After days of reflection, Jing Bai Nian made a choice that left many in awe. He chose to forgive, not out of weakness, but out of strength. Not because they deserved it, but because his heart was big enough to offer it. He understood now. His grandmother had not only given him life, but had also taught him the greatest lesson of all, compassion. Somewhere beyond the clouds, she was watching, and he knew she would be smiling at his decision. Today, Jing Bai Nian is not only a celebrated artist, but also a man on a journey to rebuild what was once broken. He is working to mend his relationship with his parents, one step at a time. The wounds of the past, once thought impossible to heal, are slowly fading. Not just with time, but with understanding and forgiveness. His choice did not just bring redemption to his parents. It set him free. From a childhood marked by suffering to the dazzling lights of stardom. From resentment to forgiveness. Jing Bai Nian's journey is a testament to resilience, love, and the power of the human heart. What would you do? If you were in his shoes, would you have made the same choice? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another powerful and moving story. See you in the next video.